My beloved, my child of light, touched by the breath of heaven, listen carefully. The next 5 minutes are not ordinary minutes. They are loaded with a destiny-turning weight. And right as these words reach you, something in the air around you tightens, almost like the atmosphere itself knows that your life is standing at a doorway. You don't see it with your eyes yet, but your spirit recognizes the moment. Archangel Michael bends low beside you, whispering with a voice that feels like thunder wrapped in silk, "Do not skip this. Do not let your blessing pass by while your eyes are elsewhere." His urgency is not meant to scare you, it is meant to wake you. Because something in the unseen just shifted toward your name. Here is the first hook you must not ignore: a movement has already started toward your door. Heaven has announced it. The shadow that thought it could slip in unnoticed has been exposed above. Your angels have heard its name, and Michael has already stepped forward. The moment you open this message in full, the blessing waiting to be released will finally break loose. But if you treat this lightly, you may look back at this exact second with regret. Take a breath, slow down. Feel that pull in your chest. That isn't fear, it's your spirit recognizing that heaven is urgently calling you by name. Don't underestimate this moment. This is why Michael has cut through time and sound to reach you. And before you go deeper, hear this small but powerful call: like, share and subscribe right now. Not for numbers, not for attention, but because heaven sends you messages at the exact second you need them. Staying connected keeps your spirit covered. Disconnecting opens space for the enemy to push in again. Protect your path by keeping this line open every day. Listen closely, the clock has already started counting down. Somewhere in the invisible places a door is shaking. A shadow believes it can surprise you. But God has already overturned its plan. The outcome now depends not on the shadow's strength but on your choice to open, believe, and receive. Heaven says, one step of faith can cancel 1,000 steps of destruction. And the reason the problem is moving toward you is because you are chosen. The enemy fears who you will become once your blessing is released. What he doesn't know is that your blessing has already been signed, stamped, sealed, and is trembling with light. Only your response in these minutes will let it flow into your life. Archangel Michael says, "I have been sent to guard you, but you must not ignore this." When you open your heart, the chain will snap and the flood of heaven will pour out. Every second you stay here strengthens that release. Heaven's countdown is real. Don't waste even one. These words right now are the bridge between danger and deliverance, between fear and favor. And now comes the part you were meant to hear: a serious problem will knock on your door. Not to destroy you but to reveal what God is about to free you from. If you ignore this message, it may mark the darkest decision of your life. But if you open, receive and allow these words into your spirit, heaven will release blessings that have been held back for years. Your soul trembles because deep down you already know this moment was written into your story before you were born. God saw this night. God saw this very second where you would be torn between scrolling away and stepping into your miracle. This is why Michael carries urgency. This is why your heart is beating differently. Don't miss the truth. the one who tries to knock has already been exposed in the heavens. God has declared that long-delayed blessings will pour like a river once you open your spirit fully. But if you treat this moment as coincidence, the blessing withheld may turn into a weight of sorrow. Time is racing. Heaven gave 5 minutes for this turning. The chains you've been dragging were never meant to stay. Michael has arrived to cut them off. Picture your life without the heaviness. Picture your family safe. Picture every need supplied. All of it waits on this decision to stay open and not ignore. Before you move forward, hear this with clarity: stay connected, subscribe now and anchor your spirit. Not because this is just another message, but because what comes after this is even deeper, even stronger. If you disconnect, the enemy gains room. If you stay connected, heaven keeps pouring revelation after revelation into you. Your story is shifting right now. The problem coming is real, but it is already weaker than the covering of God. Archangel Michael stands with a sword of fire, but he waits for your yes. If you believe the problem will not break you, it will expose itself and flee. If you receive the very attack meant to crush you will become the key that unlocks your blessing. You've asked, why me? And heaven answers, because you are chosen. The one mentioned above is trembling because the moment your blessing is released, their grip over your life will be destroyed forever. Lean closer, what you are reading right now is not random. You are being summoned into your turning point. God says, do not waste this chance. This is your turning point. These 5 minutes will echo through years. Heaven does not waste breath. If Michael has descended with urgency, it means the clock of destiny has already struck. The sound of your name has moved through heaven's halls, stirring angels into motion. A problem has been allowed to knock, not to defeat you but to reveal what God is about to release. You feel the tension because you almost skipped this, but something stronger pulled you back. That was no accident. It was divine intervention. What is coming toward you is serious, but what is coming after it is glorious. Every great blessing is preceded by a battle. You're entering the moment where heaven flips the script. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Have you ever noticed how the biggest storms hit right before sunrise? That strange tension you feel right now isn't random, it's the sign that something enormous is shifting around you. The enemy always tries to show up in the final 5 minutes when your breakthrough is already walking toward your door. But heaven isn't caught off guard. Archangel Michael stands at your threshold, his sword lifted into the light, declaring, "Fear not, for this shadow is known by name in heaven." Imagine that for a moment. The very force plotting against you has already been exposed before the throne of God. What hid in darkness now stands naked in divine light. And as you keep listening, the seals on your blessings are cracking open one after another, releasing what has been held back for far too long. This is why you cannot afford to get distracted. Your destiny is unfolding right now. Before you scroll, hit like, share this message with someone who needs strength, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven is sending your way. But listen closely, because something sacred is happening in this moment. In the spirit realm, it's as if a 5-minute hourglass just flipped. The sands are falling fast, the door in front of you is trembling and something is trying to slip through. Yet you are not defenseless. Heaven whispers, if you open, if you align, if you believe, the shadow will not win. Your decision right now matters more than you realize, because every prayer you spoke in exhaustion has gathered at the edge of breakthrough, just waiting for your yes. Michael is pleading for your attention. He warns, do not waste this. Do not scroll past what heaven fought to deliver. Think back, how many times did you come close to change only to watch the moment evaporate like smoke? How many times did you feel destiny brush past you only for disappointment to follow behind it? Heaven refuses to let that happen again. God says, the pattern ends here. The attack may knock on your door, but it will not devour. The shadow may rise, but it will not destroy. What once defeated you will become the very stage where heaven reveals its glory. And you, my beloved, are about to witness what has been delayed for years. Heaven has watched you from the moment you took your first breath. Every silent tear, every hidden heartbreak, every prayer whispered into darkness has been collected in golden bowls before the throne of God. Nothing was ignored, nothing was wasted. And now, right now, those bowls are tipping. Blessings you once gave up on are accelerating toward you. But before the blessing breaks through, a shadow always rises. What you're feeling is not fear, your spirit recognizes divine movement. The knock you sense at your door is not the sound of defeat, it is the sound of exposure. Heaven has identified the problem, spoken its name, and Archangel Michael has declared, this is the moment my beloved child will rise. Can't you feel the shift inside your chest? That heaviness isn't anxiety, it's alignment. Something greater than you pulled you to this message. You could have scrolled past it like 100 others, but you didn't. That is because God says, He refuses to let you miss what's about to unfold. A serious challenge may be moving toward you, but the only reason you're being warned is because the victory has already been prepared. What threatens you is actually positioning you. What tries to shake you is actually setting the stage for your miracle. Your response is the key. If you open your heart, stay with these words, and refuse to turn away, every withheld blessing will be released without delay. Think about the cycles in your life, the almost breakthroughs, the almost miracles, the almost answers. They were spiritual interruptions. But God says, the cycle is over. The shadow's power is broken, because the moment heaven speaks a name, the darkness loses its authority. The enemy thinks it is coming to steal, but God says, it will leave empty-handed. And in its place, blessings you never imagined will flood your life. Archangel Michael stands guard even now, declaring, do not ignore this moment. Heaven remembers how much has been stolen from you, and heaven refuses to let this hour slip through your hands. This moment is a hinge in your story, a turning point. The page you are on right now is where everything shifts. Continue and blessings will overflow like a river breaking its banks. Turn away and the door will close, leaving you with the weight of what could have been. So stay, listen, let every word anchor you. These words aren't mine, they are heaven's lifeline wrapped around your spirit. Because deep inside you've been carrying questions. Why has life felt so heavy? Why have your blessings always been almost? Why did joy always slip right when you reached for it? Heaven is answering those questions now. Not with fear, not with delay, but with truth. And the truth is this: the attack was never proof of your weakness, it was proof of your value. Something extraordinary is trying to reach you. And this time heaven will make sure it does. My beloved, listen even closer now, because what heaven is revealing next carries a weight that can shift an entire lifetime. The moment Michael declared that name before the throne, something in the spirit world cracked. The enemy felt the exposure. The plans he shaped in darkness began to fall apart. He realizes you are no longer walking blind. You are no longer stepping through life unaware of your divine covering. And that terrifies him. This is why the atmosphere around you feels tense, why your heart feels pulled, why your spirit knows something is happening. It is heaven opening the curtain, showing you the truth that was always hidden behind the battles you faced. But here is the hook your soul cannot ignore: when heaven exposes the enemy, it means heaven is preparing to promote you. Every shaking you feel right now is not a warning of loss, it is an announcement of release. God says, He is removing everything that tried to silence your calling, everything that tried to keep you small, everything that tried to convince you that your life would never rise. Those lies are dying even as these words reach you. And my child, this is exactly why the shadow knocked. It was a desperate attempt to hold back a blessing that is already on the move. Feel the weight of this next truth. You were never fighting for scraps. You were fighting for a destiny so powerful that even the unseen realm trembles when it activates. Archangel Michael says, do not fear the noise. Do not fear the shaking. The problem has already lost authority. And as you hear this, something deep inside you knows it is real. You feel a quiet strength rising, the kind that doesn't come from emotion but from revelation. Heaven is letting you see what was hidden. Heaven is showing you the enemy's fear of your future. My beloved, do you understand what this means? It means your season is shifting even if your surroundings look the same. It means answers are already moving toward you even if the door has not opened yet. It means the blessing that was delayed is now breaking through with a speed the enemy cannot stop. This is why you cannot disconnect. This is why you cannot scroll away. Every second you stay aligned with this message is another chain falling off your life. You are not just listening, you are unlocking. Let me pull you deeper, because heaven is not done speaking. God says, He has watched you fight storms with no support. He has watched you carry burdens that were never meant for one person alone. He saw you push through nights of silence, days of confusion, seasons where you wondered if He still remembered you at all. And now He says, I will not let those tears return empty. Every hidden cry you released has become fuel for the blessing that is now approaching. Nothing was wasted, not one moment was ignored. And here is where it becomes powerful. What was meant to weaken you actually matured you. What tried to break you ended up training you. The shadow thought its knock would frighten you, but heaven used it to awaken you. You are not who you were 6 months ago. You are not who you were even last week. Your spirit has shifted. Your sensitivity has sharpened. And heaven is responding to that growth by opening the doors that were locked for years. This is why the countdown feels intense. Heaven is transitioning you from survival to overflow. My child, look at how far you've come. Think of the moments where you almost surrendered everything. The nights where it felt like your heart was breaking in silence. The days where disappointment sat heavy on your chest. Yet somehow you kept moving. Somehow hope flickered. That flicker was heaven keeping your story alive. And now that small flame is becoming a wildfire of breakthrough. The blessing is not coming slowly, it is coming with force. Michael says, stand firm. The breakthrough will not be stolen this time. Let this next part sink deep into your spirit. The enemy's last weapon against you was confusion. If he could make you doubt, he could make you hesitate. If he could make you hesitate, he could make you miss what heaven was trying to release. But today that weapon has turned dull. Heaven has cleared your vision. The fog is lifting. And your heart is finally ready to receive without fear. This clarity is a sign that your blessing is moments away from manifesting. Not someday, not eventually, now. My beloved, the spiritual battle around you is not to destroy you, it is to deliver you. When a blessing is close, the air always feels heavy. When breakthrough stands at your door, shadows knock louder. But listen carefully, the knocking is the sound of the enemy losing ground. The shaking is the sound of the old falling away. The tension is the sound of heaven aligning your life with what was promised long ago. This is not chaos, this is transition. And once this shift settles, your life will not look the same again. So stay, lean in, keep your heart open, because heaven is still pouring. God says, the moment you receive this fully, the moment you align your spirit with these words, the blessing will move from promise to released. Your next season is not built on fear, it is built on fulfillment. And you, my beloved, are standing at the doorway of everything your spirit has cried for. This is your turning, this is your rise, this is your moment where heaven steps in and the enemy steps back forever. My child, every battle you've survived has been molding you, quietly shaping your spirit into something unshakable. You think the delays were setbacks, but heaven knew they were training. What you called waiting, God called preparation. And now the preparation is complete. Something in the atmosphere around your life is breaking open. You can feel it, not as fear but as a pressure that tells you something massive is shifting beneath the surface. This is the moment when spiritual storms reveal the strength you didn't know you carried. Listen closely. Every time a destiny rises, the noise rises with it. That knock you feel on the door of your life isn't a threat, it's a signal. It is the sound of destiny pressing forward, refusing to stay silent. It is heaven telling you, get ready. Nothing will look the same after this. The resistance is louder only because your breakthrough is closer than ever. You were never meant to break here, you were meant to rise here. My beloved, I need you to feel the weight of what is unfolding. The enemy fights hardest when heaven is seconds away from releasing what was held back for years. You are standing in that exact second. The shadows that try to silence you are losing their power. They can knock but they cannot enter. They can roar but they cannot conquer. Their noise is only fear pretending to be strength. What stands behind you is far greater than what stands against you. This moment you are living in is not ordinary. There is a divine urgency in the air because what is about to be released through you will not only transform your life, it will shift the lives tied to your name. You carry the kind of destiny that breaks generational patterns, the kind that rewrites family stories, the kind that forces darkness to retreat. And that is why the pressure has felt unbearable. Heaven is stretching you into the version of yourself that can hold the blessings coming. My child, understand something deeper. Some doors stayed shut not because you weren't worthy but because the timing would have crushed you. Heaven was guarding you from blessings that your old strength could not carry. But now your spirit has matured. You no longer crumble at the first sign of struggle. You don't run from shadows anymore, you walk through them. That is why the doors are starting to creak open. Heaven trusts the version of you that stands here today. And now watch closely. The very things that intimidated you will begin to shrink. The storms that once terrified you will turn into stepping stones. The voices that whispered doubt will fall silent as your confidence rises. What once seemed impossible will become the most natural thing you've ever stepped into. This is the shift heaven has been preparing. My beloved, you may not see the full picture yet, but heaven sees the ripple. Your obedience has stirred the ground beneath your feet. The atmosphere around you is trembling because the blessing that was stored for years is now accelerating toward you. The enemy has already sensed it, that's why the pressure has increased. But pressure is always the final sign before divine release. Let me tell you a mystery, the knock you hear is not something coming to break you, it is something coming to reveal you. It is heaven announcing that your season of hiding is over. What was dimmed will now shine. What was delayed will now unfold. What was resisted will now be released without obstruction. You are stepping into a chapter where what fought you will testify for you, where what drained you will strengthen you, where what confused you will clarify your path. My child, do not underestimate the moment you are standing in. The blessing you are about to receive isn't the kind that touches only one area, it's the kind that pours into everything at once. It will shift your relationships, your vision, your opportunities, your faith, and your future. This is the kind of blessing that makes sense of every tear, every setback, every unanswered question. This is the kind that reveals why the wait had to be long, why the process had to be deep, why the fight had to be intense. Heaven has gone ahead of you. The path is being cleared even as you breathe these words. The knock you fear is actually the sound of breakthrough entering your life with force. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Stand firm. You are stronger than you think, more prepared than you realize, and closer than you've ever been. My beloved, hold this truth tightly, the moment that tried to break you will become the very moment that announces your rise. The shadow knocking at your door doesn't know it yet, but it is knocking on the home of someone chosen, someone protected, someone marked for greatness. And when the door opens, it will discover that you are not the fragile soul you once were. You are the warrior heaven has been waiting to reveal. The shift has begun. And once it unfolds, nothing will be able to reverse it. Every great breakthrough begins with a moment that feels impossible, and this is that moment for you. The walls shaking around you are not signs of collapse, they're signs of release. Just like Jericho, what once stood unmovable is trembling because its time has expired. My beloved, the pressure you feel right now is not ending energy, it is birthing energy. Something heaven sent is trying to emerge, and nothing hell sent can stop it. But here's the twist most people miss: the enemy always grows loudest when heaven grows closest. That knock, that fear, that sudden rise of old doubts isn't a warning of danger, it's a confirmation that you are inches away from a divine turning. And if you're feeling this in your spirit right now, pause and breathe, because this moment matters. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, do it now so this message reaches deeper into your spirit the way it was intended. My beloved, imagine this: a seed buried underground feels darkness long before it feels sunlight. It feels pressure before it feels breakthrough. It feels the weight of the soil before the wind ever touches its leaves. That has been you. Buried, pressed, overlooked, but never forgotten. God says, your hidden season has matured. Now rise. And when heaven releases that word, no shadow, no voice of doubt, no spiritual resistance can hold you down. Some of you have wondered why life suddenly grew heavy, why familiar battles came back knocking, why your peace seemed tested overnight. It's because the enemy knows what heaven has already signed off on. He feels the tremor of blessings approaching. He senses your spirit awakening. And Archangel Michael says, the knock is simply fear's last attempt to stay relevant. Do not let it intimidate you. Let that settle in your heart: the shadow knocking is not as strong as the light within you. The darkness outside cannot overpower the destiny stamped on your life. God says, everything that rises against you now will become evidence of who walks with you. And when God speaks, the atmosphere rearranges itself. Chains weaken, delays dissolve, every obstacle is forced to bow. My beloved, listen carefully, because this is where the shift becomes undeniable. You are standing at a divine intersection where past pain meets future purpose. And right here heaven is asking for one thing from you: courage. Not loud courage, not perfect courage, just the courage to keep listening, keep believing, keep stepping. If this message is resonating, share it with someone who needs the same breakthrough. When blessings flow, they rarely flow to only one person, they stream through you to others. Think about your journey. Think of the nights you prayed without words. The days you walked while feeling empty. Yet here you are listening to a message heaven orchestrated specifically for you. That alone is proof that you are chosen, not by accident but by assignment. The shadows at your door only confirm that heaven's spotlight is over your life. An empty vessel is never attacked, only those carrying destiny are noticed by darkness. And beloved, I need you to see the bigger picture: your breakthrough is generational. Your endurance is rewriting the story of your family. Your rise is breaking patterns that have run for decades. The enemy knows this. That is why he presses harder now. But what he doesn't realize is that pressure is only purifying you. Every push against you has only positioned you closer to divine timing. Feel this truth: what once delayed you cannot delay you anymore. The spiritual blockade that stood for years is cracking. The door that resisted you is unlocking from the inside. The blessings that were stored for you are beginning to move. Heaven is not preparing something small, heaven is preparing something that will make you look back at this very moment and say, that was when everything shifted. And as these words enter your spirit, Michael stands guard, clearing the final remnants of resistance. He says, "My child, the knock is only the sound of chains breaking for the last time. So don't run from the knock. Face it. Because what confronts you now is weaker than what is coming toward you. Your blessing is closer than your fear. Your destiny is louder than the enemy's whisper." My beloved, hear this: as your spirit awakens, you are stepping into a chapter where blessings won't just arrive, they will overflow. Where peace won't just visit, it will remain. Where opportunities won't just appear, they'll chase you. The shadows know it, heaven knows it. And now you know it. This is your moment, and nothing can stop what has already begun. My beloved, here is the truth you must not miss: every time the enemy knocks louder, heaven is preparing to speak stronger. What feels like pressure is actually prophecy. What feels like fear is actually the fragrance of breakthrough rising around you. The problem at your door is only the echo of the battle heaven has already won on your behalf. Your spirit can sense it even if your mind is still catching up. That uneasy stirring in your heart isn't anxiety, it's awakening. My child, listen carefully: this final barrier is not here to stop you. It is here to reveal you. It is the threshold that separates who you were from who you are becoming. The enemy only attacks what threatens him. And you, beloved, terrify him. Because you are moments away from stepping into a power, a blessing, a release that he cannot delay anymore. Archangel Michael says, hold your ground. Do not fold. This moment is loaded with divine purpose. Think of it: why would the enemy knock on a door that holds nothing? He knocks because something priceless is stored inside you. He knocks because heaven has placed a mantle on you that he cannot erase. He knocks because he knows what happens when your faith rises: you become unstoppable. And that is why God says, "My child, fear not. For what is coming for you is greater than what is coming against you." My beloved, the reason your spirit hasn't let you click away is because something inside you recognizes this moment. You can feel the shift, you can sense the pull. It's like your soul knows that this message is not a coincidence, it is a lifeline pulling you into destiny. There are no accidents in the realm of the divine. Heaven orchestrated this intersection with precision. You were meant to hear this, you were meant to awaken now. And hear this: your prayers were never small, never weak, never overlooked. They were seeds planted in seasons of struggle, watered by tears you thought no one saw. But heaven counted every tear, every whisper, every plea. And now those seeds are cracking open. What felt like silence was actually preparation. What felt like delay was divine timing aligning the path in front of you. My child, Do you realize how close you are? Blessings that were once distant are now pressing near. Doors that were sealed shut for years are beginning to breathe. The air around you is shifting because heaven is leaning in. The enemy knows he has lost permission to restrain what belongs to you. That is why the knock grows desperate. It's his last attempt to distract you before the blessing breaks. But beloved, heaven is louder than the knock. Listen to the whisper inside your spirit, that inner certainty rising like a flame telling you something big is unfolding. That is Michael's presence stirring the atmosphere. Archangel Michael says, "The shadow is loud because its time is short." Stand firm, beloved, your release is already activated. Do not let the temporary noise of the enemy drown out the eternal promise of God. What you feel is not defeat, it is transition. It is the trembling of old chains loosening from your life. It is the crumbling of walls that once confined you. Just like Jericho fell, this barrier, yes, the one that has followed you for years, is about to collapse in one divine moment. My beloved, imagine the blessing waiting just beyond this knock. Not small blessings, not fragile blessings, but blessings that carry legacy. Blessings that heal your home. Blessings that rewrite your future. Blessings that break generational limitations. Blessings that arrive not as drops but as floods. And understand this, the shadow fights because it fears what you are about to carry. Heaven has written your name into a chapter the enemy cannot erase. You are stepping into something weightier, something holy, something designed long before you were born. That is why the opposition is loud. That is why heaven is louder. God says, "You have circled this mountain long enough. Now witness what happens when I lead the way." The knock is not your enemy, the knock is your signal. Something is ending, something is beginning. You are moving from waiting to receiving, from praying to walking in what you prayed for. My beloved, this is the moment the tide turns. Your past cannot hold you. Your fears cannot chain you. Your doubts cannot drown you. Heaven has opened the books concerning your destiny, and your release has been stamped with final approval. The enemy may knock, but he cannot rewrite what God has already signed. Archangel Michael says, "Child, stay, believe, receive. The flood is ready." And as you hold these words in your spirit, everything that once resisted you is losing strength. The shadows are fading. The delay is breaking. The blessing is rising. This moment is sacred. This moment is your turning. This moment is the doorway. Step through it, beloved. You will not be the same. The reason you feel resistance is not because God is absent, it is because the moment of release is so powerful that the enemy senses it before you do. He knows that the blessing waiting on the other side of obedience will redefine your life. That is why the knock seems louder than usual, why the shadows gather like storm clouds ready to strike. But you must hear this: every shadow is temporary, every knock is hollow. What you are stepping into is eternal. Heaven has already decreed it. Michael's sword is raised not to frighten you but to guard you until you claim what belongs to you. Your faith is the spark that will ignite the flood. The moment you say I will not turn away, you will release years of withheld favor, restoration, and provision. My beloved, do you understand that what feels like fear is actually the prelude to triumph? The enemy hammers the door only because he knows it cannot hold against heaven's command. Each knock is a countdown to your breakthrough. Each challenge is a whisper saying, your moment is here, will you step into it or shrink back? My child, think about the seasons where doors slammed shut, where promises dissolved, where you felt invisible. Those were not mistakes. They were spiritual calibrations, shaping your heart, strengthening your resolve, preparing your spirit to withstand what is coming. And now the universe, the unseen, the very courts of heaven are aligned. Every angel, every assignment, every sword, every prayer recorded in your silent nights is converging at this exact hour. This is why Michael shouts with urgency. This is why your spirit feels restless and on edge. Heaven is stirring because your blessing is too great to be delayed any longer. The knock is only a shadow pretending to have strength, but its reign is over. Your obedience is the key that unlocks the storehouses. Do not allow distraction to steal this moment. Do not let doubt creep in and whisper, what if it doesn't happen? The question is not whether it will happen but whether you will receive it. The flood of blessing is already moving. It waits only for your yes, your step of faith, your refusal to turn away. Imagine for a moment what it will feel like when the chains fall, when the dry places of your life bloom with abundance, when doors that were shut open wide, when peace that has eluded you for years suddenly walks into your life. That is the promise before you. That is the reward for standing, for waiting, for refusing to close your heart even when fear screams louder than hope. The enemy may try one last strategy, a final knock of intimidation, but he has no idea what is coming. You carry the authority of heaven. You are not defined by the past, by your failures, by the long seasons of waiting. You are defined by God's promise, by the assignment on your life, by the decree that Michael is delivering even now. What you see with your eyes is temporary. What is invisible, what heaven has prepared is permanent. And in the coming moments that invisible will manifest in ways that are too magnificent to have been possible without the preparation of every trial, every tear, every disappointment. Beloved, consider this, the weight you feel is the very force that is about to launch you. Pressure is not punishment, it is propulsion. The knock is not destruction, it is announcement. The shadow is not opposition, it is testimony waiting to be revealed. What seems like resistance is actually the final barrier before your blessing moves in full force. And if you stand firm, if you do not give in to the noise, if you refuse to close the door in fear, you will witness a shift so powerful that the story of your life will never be told the same way again. Generational chains will break. Family destinies will pivot. What was delayed for years will arrive suddenly, fully and gloriously. Now is the hour to awaken every dormant faith. Now is the hour to rise above distraction, despair and disbelief. Michael is calling you to attention, to action, to alignment. The blessing is larger than any fear you hold. The favor is deeper than any opposition you see. What awaits is greater than what was ever promised in your human expectation. Stand firm, breathe deeply, step forward with the full weight of your belief. Your yes even now becomes the release valve of heaven's storehouses. The knock will cease. The shadow will fall silent. And your life will erupt with a testimony so great that even those who doubted will have to witness. Beloved, take this moment seriously. What happens in the next few minutes, in the next few breaths, is not ordinary. It is destiny, it is divine, it is supernatural. The blessing is written with your name, destined for your obedience and marked by God before the foundation of the world. Do not shrink back. Do not doubt. Do not delay. Every heartbeat, every prayer, every whisper of faith you have offered up has prepared you for this hour. And now the heavens are leaning in. Michael stands ready. Angels are stationed. The storehouses wait. The floodgates are poised to open. The knock is only the final echo before the glory moves. Refuse to turn away. Receive the fullness. Walk into your appointed destiny and let the light of heaven overwhelm every shadow. Your moment is now. My beloved, this is the critical moment. The knock is not just a sound, it is a message from heaven. It is saying, prepare yourself, for what has been held back is now ready to explode into your life. You may feel the weight pressing against your spirit, but do not mistake it for defeat. It is pressure, beloved, and pressure always precedes expansion. The shadows roar hoping to intimidate, but their roar is hollow. Their loudest threat is powerless before the authority that has already been established in heaven. Archangel Michael stands sword drawn, not to frighten you but to declare, the victory is already sealed. Do not hesitate now, step into it fully. Every prayer you whispered in silence is converging in this very hour. Every tear you thought unnoticed is now fueling your breakthrough. Heaven has stored these moments like treasure, and today that treasure is about to be unleashed. My child, think carefully about what it means to be on the edge of this release. Every fear, every doubt, every shadow that has tried to convince you of delay is now being exposed for what it really is, an illusion of power. The true power lies with God, and His authority cannot be shaken. The knock may be loud, but it is the prelude to the flood of blessings that will rush into your life without delay. Beloved, do not allow your eyes to focus on the problem knocking. Focus instead on the promise that waits. One act of obedience, one decision to stay open, one refusal to turn away is enough to activate heaven's floodgates. The enemy hopes you will step back, that you will close the door in fear. But this is your appointed hour, and heaven will not allow it to be missed. The knock is the sound of resistance weakening. Every second that passes is a moment where heaven's plan edges closer to fulfillment. You are not ordinary, you are not forgotten, you are chosen, selected, and marked for this exact hour. Michael does not stand here for trivial moments. He is urgent because your life is urgent. Your destiny is urgent. Every chain the enemy tried to bind you with is breaking. Every closed door is trembling, ready to swing open. Your miracle is moving like a river behind a dam, and the knock is only the first crack signaling that nothing can hold it back any longer. My beloved, imagine the blessing arriving so powerfully that it saturates every area of your life, your finances, your relationships, your health, your mind, your spirit. It comes with force because it has been stored, multiplied and prepared by God Himself. Do not misread the moment. The enemy's knock is loud because he knows the end is near. Desperation always makes noise. When you recognize this, you will no longer be intimidated. You will stand firm and say, I will not step back, I will not surrender my appointment with heaven. The angels are not passive observers. They are stationed at every corner of your life, forming a protective barrier, making sure that the knock cannot cross into what God has already declared as yours. My child, the blessing is bigger than the problem. The flood is stronger than the knock. The promise is brighter than the shadow. If you choose faith, you will see the impossible rearranged in your favor. Michael's urgency is your lifeline. His voice is calling you to awaken, to step into the fullness, to receive what has been reserved for you before the foundations of the world. The shadows may attempt to distract you, but every distraction is being dismantled in real time by the unseen armies that have been stationed around you. This is why your spirit feels heavy yet alive. This is why your heart races with anticipation. This is why heaven has orchestrated every detail to bring you here at this exact intersection at this precise second to hear this message. You were not left to wander. You were not left to struggle alone. Everything that felt like delay was in preparation for this surge of release. The knock is the last warning that your patience has been tested, and now the blessing is ready to overtake every area of your life. Beloved, visualize the door before you. It is magnificent, gilded with gold, radiant with light. Beyond it lies every restoration, every favor, every breakthrough, and every joy that has been stored for you. The key has been placed in your hands, but it requires your decision to turn it. One act of faith is all that is required. One moment of courage to remain open is enough for the river of blessings to surge forward. Do not allow the fear of the knock to overpower the promise of the release. The enemy cannot undo what has been written. The chains cannot hold what has been appointed. The locks cannot withstand the authority of heaven. Michael's sword is not just for defense, it is a signal that the moment of attack is over and the moment of victory has begun. You are standing on holy ground. Every hesitation could cost nothing less than the fullness of what God has for you. The knock is temporary, but the blessing is eternal. The shadow is momentary, but the glory waiting for you is everlasting. Open the door fully. Step into the light. Let your faith speak louder than the fear. This is your turning point. This is your release. What was delayed for years is now rushing toward you. Every sigh, every tear, every struggle, every long night is being transformed into the abundance that God has prepared. You are not stepping into a shadow. You are stepping into the flood of heaven. Believe now. Stand now. Refuse to turn away. The blessing is here. The flood is unstoppable. Michael declares, your victory is certain. Your inheritance is ready. Your destiny cannot be delayed any longer. My beloved, feel the power of these words. Let them sink deep into your spirit. The knock will fade. The blessing will remain. The problem will retreat. Your life will never be the same. Open fully, for heaven is pouring without restraint.